What's up, guys? It's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity Build It video. We're going to be going over one of the trainees' decisions this week for the contest of mayors in Mega. Now, part of the reason why I'm going over his choices is because of a little bit of, I don't even know if I would call it drama, spackle, just anything, just a little bit of banter going on between two people in my group. So two of the people in my CoM training course ended up in the contest of mayors together. Now, this happens more than you would think. Now, actually, one of the girls that was in my CoM training course, she's not in it anymore. I used to run a training course that had about 10 players all in one chat room. And it became a little too much that I could handle. And then CPT, because of the recent changes, he had kind of fallen off and needed extra help. So I dropped everybody from CoM training and focused 100% on him and getting him back on track, because him being on track is what's most important to me. Then after I get him on track, I can get back to helping others. So in the process of that, I told people if they ended up in a really bad situation, that they could message me. Now, this was several months ago. One of those girls that I had to drop from the Contest Mayor's training course was against one of my new trainees. Now, because she's been doing okay, she's not like, super badass in the contest. She still has a lot of learning to do, but she does good. I wouldn't say she could fly on her own yet, is what I'm saying. So it's not like he was going against somebody of my level pro under those circumstances. Now, because she was going against him, I reached out to her and I told her, if you need some help winning, I will help you win. Okay, all you have to do is message me and I will do the best that I can, because I have a couple of days off this week because I was able to finish my tasks early. And I tell everybody the same thing. If you're going against somebody that's in my training course, you get no special privileges. Do not ask me how many tickets they have left. Do not ask me what they have planned, because I will not tell you. And she knows that, so she knew better than to even ask. I come on the game, and I had seen a message from him in the game chat that said, "Hey Bean, are you gonna make me use some of my tickets?" kind of thing. And that was his way of asking, like, how many tasks do you have left? It was really shady. I didn't like the way he approached himself in that way. Now, I can't blame him for trying, but I'm just saying that's not how we do things here. It's a fair game, and if you lose, you lose because you lost fair. Now, if you go against CPT, I can't promise that I'm gonna, have that 100% confidence, being how it's like it should be like spousal privilege or something. No, but I'm just kidding. Storm and CPT went against each other this week, and I didn't even know because CPT was so low on the leaderboard. He got hit pretty hard with upgrade tasks, and I think he just said screw it midway through. He was angry because, I don't blame him. He's had it really bad the last couple of weeks. But I haven't been able to focus on helping him. So let's get through to what happened this week. So here we have Bean and Elle, and they're going against each other. Now, the leaderboard at this time, pretty much, everybody's just kind of climbing for first and whatnot. But the reason that this is important to everybody involved is because I'm going to tell you guys right now that this type of thing happens all the time. People finish their main tasks a day early, and then they sit and they wait on their tickets. And I'm going to explain why you do not want to hold off on tickets if you have a chance at winning. Okay, so we're going to get through this, and you're going to see exactly why you do not want to hold on your tickets. Now, he says, "I'm considering doing something you may disapprove of." That first line right there, that's not exactly appealing to me. I'm sitting there going, well, then why the hell are you in my training course if you're going to go against my advice, right? He says that he has 10 tasks left. I'm considering just doing sugar next. It will finish about the time I go to bed. 9 plus 15 is easily doable over Saturday and Sunday. Depending on what I get after sugar, I can do glass overnight. Okay, so let's go look at his list and see what in the hell he's talking about, and see which play was good and which one was bad. And L, I'm not making this video to be mean to you. I'm making this video because you said you want to learn and you want to know what you did wrong, and you're being a poor loser. So I'm going to show you what you did wrong so that you can own it, okay? Don't make up excuses, just own it, because I'm going to show you right where you went wrong. Maybe if you see, from a bystander's point of view, the whole week, you'll understand where you went wrong so that you don't do it again next week. And many people do this, okay? I'm not bashing on you in that regard. And that's why I'm making this video, is because so many people do this. I've done this. That's why I know not to. Smart people, they learn from their mistakes, but smarter people learn from others. Remember that. Okay, so he's got 10 tasks remaining. He has 95,000, and he's got 2 days and 13 hours left, right? Well, here's the thing, though. He's in my group, so I know his war schedule. What this means is you cannot run war 24 hours a day through the entire duration of the 5-day contest because of the cooldowns and the way that war works. So you have to schedule it just right. Now, a lot of my people in my group their morning is my nighttime. So or the people that it is their nighttime, they stay up to try to get a head start on the contest. So it's important that they be able to do their launch war tasks immediately when the contest starts. That's why we start 12 hours beforehand. It's better to get shit done early than later, right? So we put our war schedule 12 hours before CoM, meaning that we finish war on the last day of CoM. We're not going to be in war. There's nothing we can do about that. You either trade it for the first day or the last day. Now, if it were me making the choice, which it is, it's to do it the first day, right? To have the first day to get your shit done, rather than having to sit there and wait your entire first day, because people are more likely to make wrong choices if they stayed up all night long waiting to do something in the contest and they're told to wait a day. You don't want to start off the first part of your week waiting the first 24 hours out and having to bust your ass the last day, right? That's not good at all. And I made that point to him because I tried explaining to him, look, man, you're not going to be... You got to take into consideration what tasks you're going to be able to do. You say, oh, it's easy to do 15 tickets the last day. It is if you don't get factory tasks or war tasks, because now we're not going to be in war, right? Okay, so he had a 600 chairs, which technically is a rotatable task, but being that he only has 10 tasks left, it's probably not the best option. But let's keep looking here. Okay, it says upgrade town building for 1200. So no, we're not going to do that. Now, sugar is the next play here because it sits 2,000 or higher. But I would have prepped the text before the glass, right? Why is that? Even though glass is 1,000 higher. Because, and I'm going to show you what I had explained to him going forward. I said you made 4 mistakes this week, and I had went through and looked at every one of his decisions and marked them down. Each one of his choices that he made the mistake on was all VU repair. Okay? He should have done repair and he didn't. So I was explaining that to him. Now, I said, okay, now going back to this, he said, I screwed up on my screenshots. 10 was the sugar. I'm not sure what 9 and 8 was. I'm not sure what 9 was, and 8 was a cancel. Okay, so then he does land. Then he does 7 and he cancels a Paris upgrade. Now, given the fact that he had so little assignments left, and he's been in a string of cancellations, had he discussed this with me first, he's not doing CoM training correctly, and I'm going to have a talk with him about this moving forward. We're going to have some guidelines, but I'm not going to get into all that in this video. But the way that CoM training is supposed to work is you send in your choice. I tell you if you're correct or if you're wrong. And if you don't hear from me, then you make the best choice you know how, and I review it when I get back. Right now, he's just sending in groups of of screenshots of choices he's already made, and then I happen to catch him when he sends them in, moving on to his next choice, and I advise him, and normally he argues and goes against my advice. I'm not here to argue my point. You either understand that I know what I'm talking about and you're here to learn from me, or you don't. I've done this before where I've had to argue with people and I'm not doing it. You know, I'm here to help you. And on my free time, I do this for free, so remember that too. Okay, so he cancels where, now at this point, let's go back up and look and see. He said that he was doing sugar at Friday at 8:36 p.m., okay, is when or wait, no, it was even before that. He said that at Friday at 1 p.m., let's see, 2 days, 15 hours. Let's see here. Hold on just a second. Right here. So 2 days, 13 hours remaining. He said, I'm considering doing something that you would disapprove of. That was Friday at 1 p.m. Okay, so here we are at 8 p.m. So here we are 7 hours later. Now let's just keep going. And he hasn't prepped the text yet. Okay? So now we're 2 days, 6 hours left. He cancels the upgrade. Still not having prepped the text, I'm assuming, because he did glass before text, which I would have advised against. Now, he says, I did sugar at 2K. Then I cannot remember what I did next. Then 3K launch. Sorry, 2K expansion, not launch. Then I canceled the Paris upgrade. I think it was 10, 2120 sugar, 9 expansion, and then he says with glass running for overnight. And then I said, okay, I see your screenshots. Why did you pick glass over the 2 I listed? So up above, I had said the last few choices were interesting, trying to understand what's going on. 1 sec. And then I said, why didn't you do coins or even texts? And he said, I did. Sure. He lists all the things before that. That's not what I was asking. I wanted to know why he didn't do the coins or the textiles and he chose glass. And that's why I said, I see the screenshots. I see what you did. This is what I'm trying to understand. And he says, I have not picked glass. I just started glass to run overnight. So, so basically I didn't start the assignment, but I already filled the factories. Again, why? That's what I want to know. I'm trying to help you understand why the choices you're making, I'm trying to help you understand the correct choice and why this was the wrong choice. And before I can do that, I need to know why you thought that was the right choice. I'm not saying it in a bitchy way of like, so why'd your dumbass do that? You know, it's really in like a why. I'm trying to understand your thought process as to why you would pick glass under these circumstances. It's 1440. What's the rule on glass? What do I say in all my videos? If it's not at like 17, 1800 at a minimum, and it's you got to be careful on the time remaining not to do it. Because why? What's the rule of thumb with this? Because it can come back. And let's just keep going. He says, about to head to bed, so was loading factory. So what he's making the point of here is that because he's going to be sleeping anyways, glass is the better choice than textiles because it's worth 100 points higher. No, it's not. And if you listen to my videos, you know why. And he says, I would have picked glass over text because it was slightly higher value and premium. I know they are both bad options. I'm still trying to figure out when to incorporate coins as an available option. Okay, so glass and text. Technically, they're both factory productions. So when he says and premium, that was an irrelevant statement because they're both premium. And technically, they're both non-premium. But because of the fact that a factory task is the only factory task that can be worth 3,000 is electrical. But technically, we consider it a premium. To not confuse people. But what I asked was, why text over glass? And he makes the point that it's because of the time that he's going to be sleeping anyway, so he might as well take that extra 100 points. But that's not the only thing that you need to consider here. And this is a prime example of what I talk about remember yesterday's video that I put out and I talked about when people only focus on if something's premium and its points value? This is the prime example of making that mistake. He's not looking at what he opened up. He's not looking at the task itself. By doing glass over textiles, he opens up the possibility of it coming back. And he's in loop territory. Okay? So the chances of him getting glass again are pretty high. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. It means it could happen, and it's a risk, and it's a risk not worth taking. Now, the textiles being at 100 points lower, but they're half the time. Half the time. So if they did come back, most of the time when textiles come back, they usually come back in, if at best, but usually they come back in worth some decent points. So even if textiles came back a second time, you wouldn't touch them unless they were worth good points. And if they were worth good points, it would only be half of the time for the glass. So glass was a horrible thing to pick here, especially with the time remaining and tasks remaining. That every red flag that could have been up was up in this situation. Okay, so I made the point. I said, right, but it's very little points and it takes so much longer. But then, he says, but they're both going to be running while I sleep. So this is where I explained to him what I just explained to you, and he said I had a bunch of factory tasks as CoM. Well, okay, then you had a bunch of factory tasks. So if you had a bunch of factory tasks and you see that that's part of the rhythm here, that would be even more of a reason to not risk it, right? That's how I would feel about it. Okay, so that's what I told him. I said that's another reason to not touch the glass. So then we move in, and I said, so when you're looking at it, look at it as a way of opening up possibility. You're opening up the option for it to return. And he said, I can still start text when I wake up. Time left to complete the remaining tasks. That does not mean you're going to have time to complete the remaining tasks, because now my next point here is, I told him, I said, you should do coins and see what comes in. And here was my next point, is now he's not going to be able to do any factory tasks if they pop up, because now his shit's full of glass. See? So I'm trying to get him to understand when it's appropriate to fill the factories with something like that and when it's not. So I told him to do the coins. The coins was at 14 something, and it's right around the same value, but can be done in a matter of seconds. And if it does return, then it returns, but it's not coming back to throw down, 6 hours worth of factory. The point is, it has a good chance of opening up something good here, the coins. So I told him to go ahead and do the coins. So then he does the coins, and he comes back and he says, okay, it'll only take 5 minutes. And then he says, so is coins part of the rotation with win nothing higher in the last 10 tasks? You tried to simplify it. I can't say that. You have to look at each case individually, okay? Under these current circumstances, this was the best option here, okay? So it says, I was considering with 15 tickets, there was really 25 to go and coins seemed early. Okay, well, you don't have a whole lot of options here. So I said, your list has minimal options. You have very few tasks remaining. Given the fact that you can't do upgrades, it could open up something better. Right? So then he gets medal for 1710. Now what do you think happens? Now he's stuck. That's his next play. And he can't do it. Why can't he do it? Because he filled his factories with glass. Yeah. So now he's stuck, waiting and sitting, when he wouldn't have been had he listened to me. So now I made the point of saying, well, now you can't do it. So basically what it is he says, okay, I will dump the glass in the morning, do the metal, and see what comes from there. All right. So now it's morning, 1 day, 23 hours left of the contest. 5 tasks remaining. He collects the glass and he does the metal. Okay. He gets a 2,000 city expansion, which he does. And then he gets another coins, which he does. Now at this point here, what should he have done? Let's keep going. Bricks for 1920. Launch expansion for 3. Now we're going at 1 day, 20 hours. So from the time that he woke up and did the metal, it's been 3 hours. he could have prepped the textiles, right? I don't know if he did or not. So he's got the bricks. Now he's got keys. Now at this point, the textiles should have been done and ready for pickup. He should have been able to do the textiles. And the question is, does he? Then he shows me the screenshots, and it says 110, and then Bean is at 87,000. So she has 23,000 to go before she can even touch his score, roughly, right? Now, the other people don't appear to be much of a threat, being how their score is about half of his. Now, that doesn't always mean that, but so far, that's kind of what we're looking at here. So basically, he's got two people that are of a concern to him, and one of which is in my CoM training course, well, used to be in my CoM training course. So he knows that she has a pretty good idea of what it is she's doing, meaning she would be his best competition. It's going to come down to these two, right? He comes in and he says, Monster is available in 3 hours. Monster? What? I'm like over here like, what? I'm trying to understand at all where he came to the conclusion that Monster would be a good idea. And I'm looking at his list. I go back up to his list. The Monster's at 1,500. Why would he ever touch the Monster at 1,500? I don't know, because you're not supposed to touch the Monster unless it's 2,000 or higher. Why? The Monster is always in your list, always. So if it's for the attempt to open up possibility, that goes out the window because it's going to come back. It's a limited task, right? Okay, so let's keep going here. I'll show you why that this is not good. So I said, you don't ever do the Monster unless it's 2K or higher. How many tickets do you have left? And he said, you told me to do the Monster below 2K last CoM. I would have never done that. I cannot think of any time I would ever do that. So I had to go back into our conversation. I typed in the keywords and I typed in Monster. I sent him the screenshots right here, see? And I never said to do a Monster that was less than 2,000, ever. So right there, I don't know why he said that, okay? And so I sent him the screenshots and he never really addressed that issue. It just kind of went away, okay? So then I said, okay, so pretty much the Monster always comes back, right? If you clear it for 1,500, it will come back. It's timed and it's a limited assignment, meaning that once he leaves, you can't do it. So if he does it for 1,500 and it comes in worth higher than 1,500 again, he's right back where he started. Except for now, once he kills it or once it leaves, now he's unable to do it. And if it ends up coming back with a higher value, now it's just taking up a place in his list, that is a problem. Right now it's at a good place value. You would not want to touch it, okay? But I told him, I said, keys would actually be the correct choice. Why is keys the correct choice when it's 300 lower? Because keys can be done quickly. It can be done repeatedly. It's not limited. It's not timed, okay? You can do it, you launch your VU tower and you can do it right away. You don't have to wait for a timer like you do with the Monster. Now, normally, keys is always in your list, but it takes a little bit longer to come back around than the VU repair or even, the Monster or whatever. Now, when it does come back around, it normally comes back around right around 2,000 points. So it's the best option that he has right now, okay? So he says, but keys also, and it's lower. So right now, it's not, I don't feel like he's asking me a question to learn. I feel like he's arguing, right? Like, I can't explain it. If you see it, you understand what I'm trying to say here. There's a difference between asking and arguing. And most people, when I tell them like, hey, this is the right choice, even if they don't understand it, they do it. And then they ask me to explain so that they better know for next time. And that's what this is all about. I want you to ask me questions. If I tell you, go do this, and you go and do it without ever asking me why and not knowing why, that's the type of student I don't want. I don't want a student that doesn't ask questions. But I don't want a student that sits there and goes, well, I know you wrote the book, but here, let me help you read it. I mean, I wrote this shit. I think I, of all people, would know what the next play is here. And I feel like I'm arguing. And so this is where it gets bad. Okay, so he says, gotcha, so that leaves keys as my only available task. Not only, but his only one, not his only one, but the highest. Okay, so there were other choices that were technically rotatable at the time. Not good, but rotatable. And then he says, unless I do one of the factory tasks. Well, let's go back up to his list and look what he's talking about here. So what is a task that he could touch if he had to? Keys, chairs, text, glass, which I would not do, chems, which I would not do, and epic. So he had other tasks that he could have done, but were they higher? No. That's why I said you had other tasks, but they weren't higher. Okay, so let's go back, and he says, I said do keys super quick and then see what pops up. Let me know what comes up as soon as you're done so I can point you in the right direction before I start recording. 1 day, 19 hours remaining. At this point in time, he just now hit his tickets. Okay? Now, 2K launch disaster is at the top because you can just barely see it through the ticket screen here. And I said, okay, do it and let me know. And he says, 1,700 on the plastic, and I said that's why we didn't fill, because we were talking about filling up for the text that he should have already had done, but he didn't, so I told him to wait, okay? Told him to hold off for a little bit, because now he's running even lower on time. So let's keep going. He says, I have seats there are 5 minutes from being done, and plastic will take 20 minutes. I'll let you know. And I said, okay. And then he said, are you seeing less VU items in global? Well, that I'm level 99, so that wouldn't have anything to do with me. Gotcha, both on my main. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get back to this. So then he says, 1 day, 19 hours. He's used 2 tickets. And he says, next ticket would be a 3K Paris upgrade. I also have a 2400 Latin upgrade on the list. I told him to send me the full list and the leaderboard, and asked him if he had seen anybody's points move. He said just Bean and the guy in second, so the 2 that we already knew were going to be an issue. He said, worried with my current average, and now hitting a 3K upgrade this week might be a bust, and I should save my tickets. What? I'm trying to figure out why he came to this conclusion. So here's the thing. What I've noticed from this week and last week with this person is that he thinks that basically what he's trying to do is he's trying to compete in Mega without having to use any tickets. And I'm going to tell you right now, everybody in Mega is all in. They're not going to sit there and say, I don't want to win this week. I'm not going to use my tickets. I'll just stop here. If they have to use them, they will use them. Okay? So you need to be prepared for that. When you get in Mega, it's an all in or all out kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I train the people in my CoM training course. The rule of thumb that I tell them is, if you have a chance at winning, take it. Okay? If you don't have a chance, if you think for a second that you have a hacker in your group and you think that it might be a waste, don't risk all of your tickets. Okay? But if you have a chance at winning, if you know, I knew that Bean was legit. Okay? I know she's not hacked, which is what I told him. He said this guy is in second in his 12th season, so not his first rodeo. Okay, so then he says, hold on. He asked me if the play is to use the ticket and cancel the upgrade and then use another ticket. And so I told him, I basically told him what I just told you about it being an all-in kind of thing, and that I knew that Bean wasn't hacked, and that it would basically be that he needed to go all in. He has a good chance. And I said, well, let me check. So I'm looking at his list, and I asked him if he had text ready. Now, he says no. Now, I'm over here like, really, dude? You don't have text ready? After last night, when I told you that you may have to do the textiles, that was over a day ago. You couldn't find time in that 24 hours, any time at all, where you would have had 3 hours worth of downtime. This is a mistake that you do not want to make. Now, factory, if it would have been CPT, he would have had the text done. Okay? If it would have been Sydney, he would have had the text done. So you have to know when to put down your factories and when not. And so here's the thing. If you think that you're going to be if you think that you're going to be burning through a couple of tasks, it's a good idea to hold off on starting the factories. For instance, let's say that you are doing a keys task and you know it's going to be done in just a couple of minutes. It's best to hold off and wait and see if anything better, anything comes up in your factories. Now, if nothing better comes up and you get hit with, let's say, a garden chairs task, even if you run a token, you know you got an hour on it at a minimum. Plus, you got to find materials. Now would be a good time to implement that factory task for 3 hours. That would be the time. Now, let's say you're doing a coins task. You would hold off for just a minute. It's only going to be a couple minutes to see what comes in. And do those couple of tasks, and then once you hit a slow zone, then take that time to put in your factory task, saying that it's not like an 8-hour task. Now, if you know you're going to be down or off the game or whatever, take that into consideration as well, okay? Also take into consideration that you may, if you have to split your factory tasks into 2 rounds, to do the second round first so that you have open spots available. Meaning, if you have to do 47 glass, then put down 10 and wait to put down the others until the first round is complete. This will allow you to continue to use your other factories, and it gives you just a couple extra in case you accidentally collect one, right? All right, so moving forward, he doesn't have the text ready. Now, that would have been his next play, but he can't do that. So I said, he said, hold on, he goes, I said, can you do the epic? And he said, no, I have very few 3-pointers. I just hit level 24 last week. So that would be another goal of his that he needs to get done this week. He needs to be burning through some VU and get it, not all of his VU, but he needs to really crank down and get some golden keys or whatever and buy some pointers. Okay, so he says I can do it. Should I go with the specialization I have the most buildings in, education, or with the most 3-pointers, transportation? I only have 3 transportation buildings. So here was my point, is that the epic was only 20 points though. So he didn't have to hit bronze. So any would have mattered because he's not going to be hitting bronze. So it's just going to go back to a normal house. And not having 20 3-pointers is not a big deal when you're only going to bronze. So none of this was relevant. Okay. And I said, as for the 3K upgrade, it's risky, but yes, try to cancel that first. Because of how many tickets he had left, it was worth trying to cancel it at least one time to see if he could get rid of it. It's just as bad to let it sit as it is, so it's worth a try to cancel. He said, I'm just worried about spending a bunch of tickets again this week with no chance of winning. Okay, why does he think he has no chance of winning? He's got 2 whopping people after him. It doesn't get any better than this. It doesn't. You know, Mega, you're never going to see a chance in Mega where you can just blow to the top without ever having to use tickets or ever having to worry about competition. Mega is hard, okay? It's a risk. It's a gamble. Everybody wants to win that 2K cash and 250 platinum keys. Everybody. And nobody's going to sit there and hold on their tickets to not win after they just spent 5 damn days busting their ass trying to get to the top. Okay? So he said, I told him, you really can't afford to stop here. You don't have enough of a lead on the leaderboard. Here's how it works with tickets. If you have a chance at winning, you take it. That's all you can do. If not now, when? If now isn't the time to use tickets, when the hell is? You know, he's not going against hackers that we can see. He's got a damn good shot at winning, and he's got like a 20K lead. If not now, when? Right? So that was the point I was making. Then he says, it just feels like I had bad luck this week. Okay, the next thing. Look, man, it's not luck. There's a certain algorithm that gets thrown out to everybody in the game. And I've been studying this for like 2 years. I've been comparing screenshots. If you look at the leaderboard, look at everybody below him. That is not a typical leaderboard, okay? Now, I can show you guys leaderboard shots, and you can look at your own, okay? Everybody's right around the same points bracket if you don't have a hacker in your group, right? If you start comparing screenshots, you'll realize that when you got flooded with a ton of upgrade tasks, so did everybody else. Everybody had that same task this week. Like, for instance, this week, not all three of the people in my CoM training, because I have a couple more, but 3 of the people in my CoM training course all had like 4 identical tasks. And not the typical ones like coins or monster. I'm talking like an 800 donuts task, which almost never comes in. So you can tell by looking at the pattern here that it has nothing to do with luck. It has to do with choices and what the game gives out, okay? I knew at the beginning of this week that it was if there was no hacker, it was going to come down to him and Bean. Now, if it was all based on luck, how do I know that? Yeah, no, it's not. Trust me, I can sit here all day long and prove to you it's not luck. Now, is there some randomness to how your assignments get spit out? Yes, but you can increase those odds drastically, okay, and play your cards right. And it's not just about that. It's also about reading the player's profile, their behavior, okay. I could read the way that he was playing without even having to know what he was doing. Like I told you, I don't give favoritism here. I told Bean the same thing, and I'm going to show you our screenshots here in a minute. Okay, so I told him, I said, you have no major signs of a hacker, and you're in first place with a lead and a decent chance of winning. So if not now, when? Right? I said, everyone has, but that's irrelevant. If you're winning in the lead and everyone else's points are lower, so everyone is having that problem, right? What matters is that you win, right? It defeats the purpose if you spend more than you get in return. When you do mega, it's an all-in type of thing. Now, if you knew for a fact that you had no chance of winning at all, that would be different. And I asked him, what is your latest leaderboard? Okay, so right now, he only had about, let's see. He had quite a bit on Bean, but I had explained to him, you know, in previous messages or, you know, obviously in my videos, that means nothing. Okay, you have to assume, you always assume that the person has more tickets, okay? So what you can do when you watch the leaderboard, if you start to get close to somebody's points and they add a ticket, it's a pretty good chance that they're holding out, that they have maybe 5 to 10 tickets remaining, and that they're trying to hold them so that they don't have to waste them. Now, you can use this to your advantage. There's a tactic that you can do, and I'm going to show you how this panned out, because it came damn close between him and Bean. Okay. He said, makes sense. Leaderboard hasn't changed since I sent it last. And I said, okay. I asked him to click the second place's profile so that we could look just to kind of get an idea if the person was a hacker. I didn't see any major signs of hacking, but he had been playing the game for a really long time. He's been in for 12 seasons, doesn't have a season pass, and it just seemed a little off, but it did not scream hacker to me. I actually got more of the... Basically what I told him is it tells me that he's more of an experienced player and that he's been parking this city for a very long time. So my guess is he does this to win the contest. So he's going to give it his all. And so we just kind of kept talking about this person's profile.